This is Kathy from GadgetStop321. In today's video I'm going to be comparing the Fuliwen 017 and the Kaweco Perkeo. Now, these two pens look pretty different, but they have a decent amount in common, and I use them for similar purposes. They are both cartridge converter pens. Both of these have medium stainless steel nibs. They're similar in size, and I am going to do a writing sample first, and then I'll go through some of the similarities and differences. Now, my most recent pen is the Fuliwen. I got it probably less than a month ago, and I've really enjoyed it. Let's see, I like to line up the little dark seam, but it posts nicely and it's well balanced. It's a little bit on the long side, but not bad. Let's see. And for a medium nib, I find this to be decently wide, fairly wet. There's a slight stubbiness to the nib. The downstrokes are just slightly wider than the side strokes, and I like that, especially in a wider nib like this. I feel like it makes my handwriting just slightly more legible, and it's a little bit less like writing with a magic marker. Reverse writing is very smooth, and it goes from being a pretty wide medium to a decent fine, maybe even an extra fine. And I use this pen, I have been using it for grading papers at school, and this is nice if being able to flip the pen over and do reverse writing. If I need to leave a little feedback on a paper, I can write with a finer nib, or with a finer line. I really like this pen, and it writes really smooth. Now, my writing sample for the Perkeo, I don't have the best ink in here. It's been writing a little dry. Now, the Perkeo, one thing it has going for it, snap cap. Again, I use it for grading, so it's really handy to be able to just pop the lid off. Let me zoom out just a little bit. It posts a little long also, but it's really lightweight. The cap is light, so it's well balanced. A comfortable pen to use. Now, let's see how this goes. Don't blame that hard start on the pen, though. This is also a medium nib, and it writes not quite as broad. This Fuliwen is almost like a broad, and this would be more like a medium. I have this inked up with Colorverse, Golden Record, and it just seems like this ink is a bit drier. I've had it in this pen for the same amount of time that I've had, I didn't make a note here, but this is Iroshizuku Azagao, which is appears to be a wetter ink than this one. And I've had a little trouble with the ink wanting to dry out in the nib of this one. Let's see. Reverse writing, at least with this ink, hasn't really been an option. This is more of a, the tipping on this is more round, so there's not really any stubbiness to it, but with it being a more narrow nib, I still find I'm able to write pretty legibly with it. I enjoy using this pen for grading. Now let's compare. Let me see, am I zoomed out? Okay. This one the Fuliwen has a threaded cap. There doesn't appear to be a cap liner, but I haven't had any trouble with this wanting to dry out. It occasionally hard starts, but I think that may be more due to over polishing, because this is very smooth. Sometimes I have to go over the first letter of the first sentence a couple times to get it going, but it seems like it's from over polishing. It's a cartridge converter, but it's not standard international. It looks like a Lamy converter, but I'm not sure if that's something I need to test out. One of the complaints about this pen is you can't eyedropper it because of this metal sleeve. That hasn't been an issue for me because I'm not interested in eyedroppering it. The threads are very smooth, and it just pushes to post very nicely. The material is just a beautiful, almost otherworldly resin. Love it. It looks like the surface of a planet, of another planet. It's just beautiful. Very, very smoothed and well polished. Feels decently durable, but it is very lightweight. The Kaweco Perkeo, on the other hand, does use standard international cartridges. I've got and a converter. It didn't come with a converter, but I'm using a cartridge right now. Let's see, cannot eyedropper this. I think this is intended as a student pen, so it's not airtight in the back for safety purposes. It also has this slight triangular grip. It's not as severe as a Lamy Safari, but I have to, tell you, I've never used a Lamy Safari, but from what I hear and just from looking at the two via the internet compared together, it's not as severe, and I find this very comfortable. It's, if you don't like a forced grip, I don't know, I just feel like this wouldn't be as uncomfortable as a Lamy Safari. This does not have that interchangeable Kaweco nib, so this is not the same nib that you would have on, say, a Skyline Sport. So switching them out, I know you can get separate nib units for like the Kaweco Sport and the Kaweco Lilliput and swap them out with each other, but I'm not sure if you can get separate nibs for the Perkeo since it's such an inexpensive pen. This pen was $17 or $18 plus shipping. It ended up being similar in price to the Fuliwen, which was $24 with free shipping. Let me go ahead and show. This has a decent size round section, very comfortable. It has a number 6 size nib, which will make it easy to switch out with other number 6 size nibs, which seems to be kind of a standard size nib. Let's see. I think that's about it. The Fuliwen is a little bit wider than the Perkeo. The Perkeo fits in my rickshaw pen sleeve. However, I rarely put it in the pen sleeve because the plastic, it's a hard plastic, doesn't tend to scratch up, so this is one I just tend to drop down in my purse. Now this one, I am a little concerned. I don't want it to get scratched up. It has such a nice shiny finish, but it doesn't fit as well. Well, I guess so. I don't want to stretch out my rickshaw, so it fits in there okay, but it's more of a struggle to get out. I have been just dropping this down in my purse, but I'm careful about what I have in my purse. I don't want keys scratching up against it, so I am gonna need to find a sleeve to keep this in if I want to keep that finish looking nice. But to me it's surprising that these two pens are as close as they are in price. I just really am fond of the Fuliwen, and I find myself using the Perkeo less often now that I have this one. I like that I'm able to write with a broader and a finer line with the same pen, and that's especially helpful when grading papers. That has come in very handy. Let me see, and I think that covers about everything between these two pens. If you found this video helpful, please give me a thumbs up, and if you'd like to see more videos like this, please subscribe to my channel.